so we'll fit in the privilege of the floor. We'll have the privilege of the floor for the resolutions that are on the agenda tonight. We'll have the privilege of the floor at the end, and then we'll ask everyone's indulgence for an executive session. Okay, so correspondence. So first privilege of the floor for agenda items only. Does anybody have anything to discuss?
Yes, yeah, Jim, I got something I'd like to ask. Resolution 96, to set a date and make a public notice for a special board meeting to finalize the budget. Is there a reason why tonight it's not going to be finalized?
So yeah,
Is there a reason why tonight the budget isn't going to be finalized?
we're delaying the budget vote so we can continue to look at certain things. And it's in the title of the delay. We're the 5-year plan, the union contract, the health insurance carrier, all factoring into the final budget. So we decided to delay it. We can't delay it past the 20th by law, so we're delaying it till the 19th, and we'll vote on it next week.
Okay, so it'll be a week then. It has to be done this month.
It has to be done by the 20th of November. If you don't
Okay.
pass the budget by the 20th of November, then the preliminary budget, and this is all towns in New York State, automatically becomes the final budget. And we don't want that to happen. We're planning on a vote the day prior.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're still working on it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, let's get on to resolution number 92, resolution to approve the October regular board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Okay, second? Second. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Resolution number 93, resolution to approve preliminary budget public hearing minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion?
Second.
Second, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Resolution, excuse me, number 94, resolution establishing new charges for level 1, 2, and 3 of Water District 4. Motion by Terry, second.
Second.
Second by Harold, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you for working on that, Shelley. I know you did the bulk of the heavy lifting with Roger and Resolution number 95, resolution to authorize cemetery funds to be invested in I-class.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion. Just an FYI, this was a good suggestion by several people, and I think that it still protects the cemetery funds, but allows us to get a better interest rate like we've been experiencing with our other I-class investments and the CDs expiring. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Resolution number 96, resolution to set the date and make public notice of special board meeting to finalize the 2026 budget. Motion by Susan, second.
Second.
Second by Harold, discussion. I'll read this one just so everybody knows it's related to Paul's question. Whereas the town board is still considering changes to the health insurance carrier and the union contract, and whereas these changes will directly affect the proposed final budget for 2026, be it resolved, the town hereby makes public notice that there will be a special board meeting to vote on the 5-year fiscal plan, the health insurance carrier contract, the union contract, and the 2026 budget. And be it further resolved that the meeting is on Wednesday next week, November 19th at 5 p.m. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Resolution number 97, resolution to pay the bills.
Motion.
Motion, second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you, colleagues. Okay, privilege of the floor. Any topic? Yes.
Wondering if you had a chance to talk to Brian Napoli about the water on South Town Line Road yet?
I have not. I apologize. So that's on me for not getting to him yet.
No, that's fine, because I did go see him,
Oh, thank you.
and I told him the issue.
Yeah.
He proceeded to give me copies of the agreements that between Bridgeway and Yates, as far as water. You know, you guys are supposed to be working together, and I do have Plan B in mind.
Okay.
That Plan B is contingent on Yates paying for supplies and materials, which would amount to about $15,000. I got the labor in line for it, and we'll take care of that ourselves, but Brian didn't seem to understand what the problem was. on this end.
From his perspective, like that, he
Well-
would be able to provide the service, or the Ridgeway?
No, because the way it stands, Ridgeway's people on that side, they all have water on the Ridgeway side. North of the, north of the town line is all Yates. And they're willing to, like I said, I've got the labor and the equipment to do it. I just would like, if Yates can come up with the money to pay for the line, we don't need a hydrant. But we've got the two homes that don't have water, and it would be roughly 15,000 just in equipment. You'd have to do the meter pit
Meter pits, yeah.
and the line, so.
Two houses will have to have 2 meter pits, because the new state law says every house now has to have a meter pit. So,
It's an interesting proposal, and again, I do apologize for not getting over to talk to
No,
Brian. Do you have something that you can leave with us that we can look at, some cost of materials and supplies that you've mentioned?
I can get something,
Yeah,
If
if
you
you
need
don't
it,
mind, and then outline your proposal, maybe just with a note, what you're talking about.
and he also brought up the USDA grant, I don't know,
That's the one I mentioned when you
yeah.
brought it up last
And
time.
I looked up, tried looking for it, the only thing I could come up with was, didn't even include New York, but I must have looked farther enough, it was like New Mexico, California, parts of, states out west, but I didn't find anything on New York, so.
Well, last time we tried to do a water district, we didn't get approved for that USDA.
Yeah,
So we
and
had
Brian
to-
said he had approached Claudia Tenny's office about it too, and he hadn't heard anything, so.
About something that he's trying to do.
Well, this was, yeah, because he had, a couple other in the similar situation in Ridgeway, so. He's trying to figure something out for that, but I'm just trying to come to a resolution, because right now, I know everybody's struggling, but even after all this rain, we got a lot of problems with it.
Still with the water source, yeah. So if you would please, outline your proposal with any kind of estimates that you have for materials.
Okay,
and we can
I'll
look
do
at it.
that,
Thank
I
you.
will.
Anyone else?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, let him talk.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let him talk.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go on.
No, I was just wondering if you're getting any place on the air, bed and breakfasts. Determining whether they are a home business, whether they should have permits. Where are we at on that?
We still don't have a consensus. It's not considered a home business.
Why would that not be?
If you look at the definition on local law, and I asked the attorney that question, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this to you last time, he said it's not considered a home business. Because of the rules for home business. The actual details of that you can determine by looking at the home business definition. And it's primarily, it's like the difference between a B&B and an Airbnb. A B&B, you're required to be there, so you can consider that you're doing a business out of your home because you live there. So that's just one example. So he said home business doesn't require, STRs don't require home business thresholds to meet.
What makes
In
them so
terms of-
different?
I'm sorry.
What makes those different?
Like I said, if you want to look it up, I can just tell you what the attorney said, and then that one example is one of them. That the person's there, lives there, and opens a business out of their home. This Airbnb could be someone from California, buys a place, puts it on Airbnb.
Okay,
It's not a
well,
home business.
what about
The legal
the-
definition. The other thing I was gonna say is that, the last time we met, on Monday, seems like a long time ago, I think we determined we're gonna look at requiring a permit with a few basic restrictions and to see what that looks like. So we went about a month without wanting to necessarily do a permit. We also got feedback from code enforcement officer and the attorney that said, they still recommend that you have a permit. We have permits required for B&Bs, we have a permit required for someone if they're gonna build a hotel, so why wouldn't we have a permit for this? So we're back to that. I should have something for the board to look at by the December meeting as a draft of that.
Would that include something on the private lanes versus shared lanes?
Right now, it's in the B&B language. I don't know if it's gonna carry over to the STR language, just to be honest. Good question. I know that's a big question on a lot of people's minds, and I don't know what will carry over. Depends on the view of the board.
question.
Yes,
Why do we keep postponing this?
that's a great question, and it's been over a year.
Yeah,
And when we thought we were getting to the finish line a year ago, we just never could. And it didn't seem prudent to put it up for a vote and have it voted down. We still can go through with the edits that we're doing without having to go through the whole process again.
okay, now I
And
have
so that's
another
what we've
question.
done.
I have another one.
Yeah.
I wonder if we, the people, propose something to you. Do you take that
Absolutely.
into consideration?
It can't hurt. We've looked at multiple STR laws. The code enforcement officer just gave me another example that I'll have an opportunity to share with the board before our next meeting. So that's absolutely the case. You can always give us
Well,
examples.
I wanna give you one.
If you have something now,
I do. Basically, this is my proposal,
yes.
is that a shared lane should not be allowed to have them at all, considering it's a shared lane. If you have a private lane, that would be up to the person, because that's their own lane. But if their neighbors complain, that's where we would go with a temporary use permit. And you would renew it every year, and if people complain, you shut them down, they don't get renewed. I would put a higher dollar on it, like a $250, to bring revenue into the town, because that's the purpose of opening businesses. And the people are gonna be the ones that are gonna tell you every year, this person's following the rules, that person isn't. So you don't even have to involve the police, because no policeman wants to come and tell people to turn down their music. That's a waste of taxpayers' money. So why can't we do a temporary use permit with like a dollar of $250 per year for renewal? Shared lanes are out. Private lanes could be in unless a neighbor complains. And then have them in rural and business areas.
All great points. Do you have it in writing? I mean, I can remember most of those have been addressed before.
All this.
After the meeting, if you don't mind sharing that with Shelley, and she'll record it as part of the minutes, as well as we'll consider it. I mean, all those have been talked about,
And I did talk to Lewiston, cause
Yeah.
you know how they, and basically, the suing part isn't suing. It's because the people that built houses do not want hotels next to them. They don't want people coming and going. But they do allow them in certain areas, which is their business areas, their rural areas.
right. Not
So-
just not down by the water.
Yeah, they just don't want it where,
That's similar to Newfane. They have different zoned districts, and the one that's on the water is the one that is restrictive.
and I mean, we're
Kendall is
not,
also very similar to that.
I'm not for not having them. I'm just not for having them in certain areas, because they affect people, they affect certain people differently. Like us, where we are, it would be like living next door to a hotel with strangers. And the people bring in some big money to pay the yearly temporary permit, and then the town, even if you have 20 people, that's a lot of money for a small town like this. And that lady could have her water.
Oh, now, I see some collaboration going on. I like it.
No, I'm just saying,
hey.
I mean, it's a small town, and we don't have the money like the bigger towns, and if you're gonna bring in a business, bring it in for a purpose, just don't, like and I'm not trying to be rude, but you said a one-time dollar permit. Well, where are you bringing in money for this town to do anything? One time, that ain't nothing.
That's the latest on the table, to be honest with you. But it
Well,
doesn't mean we can't be convinced otherwise.
It's the latest on the table from who though?
But that came up in the workshop on Monday night, that we would just do a one-time permit, whatever the amount, and.
How do you control something like that then? With a
Well,
temporary
it's
use
done only
permit?
through, it's only done through the initial permit, you're right. After
Yeah.
that, it's if there's complaints, if, whatever,
I
yeah.
mean, if it was a temporary use permit, every year the people would have to come back, and if they were doing everything that they said that they were gonna do and running their so-called business, it's not a business because it's a home business, they would get renewed again. But other than that, the people that live around the people that's running that would be policing it themselves,
Well, it-
because they're gonna be in here complaining when it's time for them to renew if they're doing something wrong.
Well, and to your point, it's both related. If you have a temporary permit, you have to do it every year, then code enforcement's gonna have to do more, the recording of the, the permit's gonna cost.
So you're gonna be making money.
So you're
off
gonna
that.
be charging, so therefore you'd have to charge more, right? So, I don't know, I mean, I don't think there's an appetite for that.
What does
But
the
again,
board,
I'm just speaking, and I'm really indulging you to try to help us understand, and everybody's hearing what's being said, to help us get to the finish line on an STR law. And so I'm glad that you're providing that after the fact, if you can hand it to Shelley, and, we're still open to discussing it. We've got at least another month before we tee up something that will actually provide the public. We're not there yet.
well, I feel, what's the code enforcement officer, why do we gotta pay him more money to do what?
If if it's a temporary permit and it has to be reissued, there's work that goes into issuing a permit.
Like what?
Well, if the
It's a rubber
facility has to, there's a
Yeah,
bunch
it's a
of,
rubber stamp.
it's not.
It is. It is though. I mean, you're making it
I
more than it should be.
I don't wanna dispute that with you, because I could talk to you another time about that. Paul, do you have something else?
Yeah, I was just, I'm glad that the town finally got into putting the money in the NI class, because that's bringing some money into the town. And I think, next year, we got some pretty good minds on the board, maybe looking at ways to bring other forms of revenue in, because, my biggest thing is the cost of equipment. Our town, people need to have safe roads to drive on in the wintertime. And the cost of trucks is like, $350,000 for a new truck. And I mean, this town is just not bringing in enough money to even support that. It's just, we're a small tax base, and that's where the money, that's where our biggest expense is, I believe, is with highway. And, we can't, you can't keep putting off buying stuff. Maybe we could look at buying maybe used stuff from down south or something, or I don't know, but there has to be something to bring revenue into the town. And I don't think Airbnb money from that's going to bring much in,
All depends how you run it.
Yeah, well, you don't want to run people out.
You won't.
You don't wanna let them run for free.
Well, let's keep the comments to the board.
Okay, but
Anything else, Paul?
no, that's it.
Thank
Just,
you. Anyone else have any other comments? Yes, sir.
Now that you got another week to work on the budget, maybe you guys can check your deductibles up a little bit, maybe drop that 2%. I've been looking at the budget, it's hard for me to make sense of it, but I see some awful large increases in some areas, and I just don't know if it's necessary, but again, I'm not involved, it hasn't been explained to me, it's just, I know it's tough.
Yeah, all I can say is that the delay will give us the opportunity for one more week roughly to right-size the budget, and that's our goal. And so, that's, we're in the midst of it right now, and I think we would normally, as you know, like the last 10 years that have done this, we've made this date work, but this year there's good reason to delay it until the last day, literally, and then we have to kind of go forward with what we can muster based on the negotiations that are going on. So thank you for your comment. Anyone else? So what will happen is I'm gonna go around the room, anything from the town officers' remarks, then we'll do a resolution to go into executive session. Once we're done with the executive session, just so you know, no business is done, no votes are made. We will close it, and then I'll come out of executive session and ask for an adjournment resolution, and we'll adjourn. So there'll be nothing after the executive session, no town business, we'll just adjourn the meeting. That's the way it goes. So Harold and I'll start with officer remarks. Harold and I just spent 2.5 hours with the county. They're doing a major emergency management system review. And I guess I would characterize it as the county came up with some money. They've got looks like some pretty experienced consultants that were sitting at the table. Although one guy was from Boston, I don't know.
Yeah.
They have football
How's the
team?
guy from Boston? Gonna make
so
a
what was your
decision in
opinion?
a small county like
As
this.
you guys know, Harold's very experienced in this realm. So what was your take on the meeting, if you don't mind sharing?
It was bad budgeting for a number of years. And it was all brought about because Medina, as we all know, and as they said, the elephant in the room, wasn't me this time, but it was the ladder truck. Just like Lyndonville just bought a pumper. Just like East Shelby just bought a brand new pumper. These animals are costing $750 to $1 million to buy. And we have some that work, but then there's some mandates from the state that tells you gotta overspend. And when we got a budget, we're crying about a 2% increase, which I understand. It's hard to make those ends meet. Now, Medina's in trouble. Medina's in a lot of trouble. They got something they purchased that's coming in, and they're gonna make something happen. Now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring all of us in to help them. Well, we don't use much from them. We have our own, it's not volunteer anymore, our own fire district. And the problem is we're paying $30,000 now.
35, yeah,
35, and we used to pay
half of that.
half of that. And that's in 1 year. Now, you look at our budget, if we went up 2%, that's $35,000. So, they're looking to scab us to get that money for the ambulance. And the problem isn't really their ambulance, the problem is their fire company. Fire companies, and people get mad at me, I'm an EMS guy. With the aging group that we have now, the baby boomers, which I'm a part of, and most people out there are part of, we're gonna need medics, because we're all gonna start having heart attacks and falls and stuff like that, where we're not gonna get a call that my pants are on fire, come put it out. We're gonna call that my heart's not working, you gotta save my life. And you're gonna save more money with EMS than you are gonna save with buying these fancy trucks. And what they wanna do, there was one group there, wanna consolidate. We don't need a brand new pumper here. Ridgeway just bought one too, I guess, they were saying. So we got a brand new pumper here, a brand new pumper at Ridgeway, a brand new pumper at East Shelby. All of this year, or the last couple of years, that's almost $3 million. And in the middle, you have the village that just paid $1.2 million for a ladder truck. The other ladder truck worked, but just like I said about the pumper, it's hard to get parts. Well, for $750,000, I'll drive where they got one. I'll take the part off by hand, right? I mean, at Whitebirch Golf Course, where I'm living my dream, I got old equipment and I have to fix it. I could go out and buy a $100,000 Greensmore, but I get by buying a $3,200 one and keeping it fixed, or have your son fix it, right? So, what this is people over the years coming in and making bad decisions, and now they're looking for everybody to bail them out, right? And guess what? I don't think we should. On our part.
Thank you for that summary, and there's so many moving parts to this, we're not the only ones that are concerned. But in the end, our current $35,000 that we pay is good until the end of next fiscal year. So come March, April, May, I'm sure Harold and I will be called to a meeting about this. And we got to say several times in the meeting that you didn't do what every other town has a luxury of having done in the east end of the county and in the central, which is base it on the utilization rate, the number of calls. The average number of calls in the town of Yates is way lower than most of the other towns, and yet Carleton, very comparable numbers, right, pays half. They pay $18,000 for Mercy.
And was it Kendall only paying 10?
Kendall's only paying 12. So just to use waterfront towns, smaller populations than some of these other ones, have to wait a little bit longer for service. The ambulance is coming from a little further away. Very comparable in so many ways, and one's paying half and one's paying a third. And so we got to say that, I noted the guy, the EMS, the facilitator that's doing the study that the county paid for.
Yeah, that's
There's
another
a lot of
thing
typo when I said that, because I want that to go on the record and have the mayor of the village of Medina, who kind of came to our defense recently, say, yeah, we can't just go willy-nilly saying 35 is now 60 and Yates is gonna pay the same amount as Shelby and Ridgeway. I don't think that'll happen based on the conversation today, but I could be surprised. Thanks for going, by the way.
There was actually 2 meetings still, because we met
It's not
once.
your turn anymore.
We were sitting tonight, you already passed that. I'd like to see, I would like to see her
Can
time.
you guys
to-
take this, can
Yeah.
you guys take this outside?
Yeah.
Shelley.
I'll save my comments for next Wednesday.
Oh, very good. So I would entertain a resolution, a motion to, for a resolution to convene an executive session for collective bargaining discussion. Motion, second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passed. So we're gonna go into executive session at 7:25. I know you got that in the recording. Thank you, everybody. Shelley, if you have papers you wanna give her, or if you have anything yet, or if
You want me to
back to us.
just bring them in when I get them?
That would be awesome.
Okay.
Then she'll remind me, hey, you didn't talk to Brian, and now you haven't answered her thing, because she's good at that. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for coming.